I mean, this has been going on for like a year and a half.
Right.
They've been passing this, and numbers are going around. I think 1.5 was the final, but I would have to go back and research that. Then there's this one. And I can't find much on this. Clarifying powers of the state auditor. From what I understand, remember back last legislature, they gave the state auditor the control of the appointment of the state board of elections.
Mm-hmm.
He also appointed the state trooper. Commander.
The commander. Yeah.
There's all kinds of different
who's
little.
from Hoke?
Yeah. There's what was that?
The highway patrol commander.
Yeah.
That's
Freddie Johnson.
Johnson.
Jr.
Say his name again. Sorry.
Freddie Johnson.
Freddie Johnson Jr. is the highway patrol commander.
Right.
He's from Hoke.
Anyway,
West,
this law
this
reinforces that and says that everything that we did last time is in effect because there's been
And
numerous lawsuits.
let me add to that because I read an article where it specifically said that our current governor was not going to appeal that.
Right, that portion of it.
That portion of that because they fought real hard, and it's staying where it's at.
Right.
Well, the auditor also released his DMV.
The DMV
findings.
audits. Yeah.
And
I looked through that, and I was
did
kind of
too.
disappointed. It didn't really have any recommendations for improvement. It kind of said, blah, 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 this is wrong. But there was no action
I
item.
think there's something coming, though.
Well, hopefully.
Like
I mean,
steps.
right.
Moving
Anyways,
forward.
what else
should
we
be.
got?
Okay, the Power Bill Reduction
Let's
Act.
go. Let's get out of here.
So it repeals the interim 2030 targets for carbon capture. Repeals the 2050 net zero mandate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it says the net zero mandate remains. Okay,
It remains because of the Senate, maybe.
Yeah, authorizes construction work in progress, which lets them recover costs for power plants.
Power bill reductions.
All right. And then we have personal privacy protection. Basically, public agencies are now prohibited from collecting and releasing donors' personal information to nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, Carolina Journal was talking real hard about that one. I thought there were some that were allowed to be released.
Not anymore. Now,
So
well,
all of them.
North Carolina public agencies can't collect information and then give that to other donors. They can't release the information, basically. Now, they can collect the information.
So they can get the information.
They can get the information in the course of investigations, audits, state authorized stuff. It's to prevent people from being doxxed, because like we as the NCGOP or the Hope County GOP, as long as you don't give me more than $50 in a year, I don't have to put your name on any report. Now, that's a low threshold, and I'm sure that other organizations have a higher threshold.
But
the idea being that, Act Blue can't come down and get Hope GOP's list of donors.
And
Above
vice
50.
versa.
Right. And then say, hey, these are all the people, it's to prevent people from being doxxed.
What about the part on the elections donations to actual campaign officials, like running for office?
Right. Well, that's one of the things, right? So it's
The
unlimited.
state can come get it.
Yeah. An individual like me, myself, I can contribute up to $6,500 a year to a candidate. The Hope GOP is unlimited, right?
Right.
So I can donate all I want to.
Right, but I'm talking
Now-
to the individual. So if you donate to John Smith running for county clerk,
Right.
who can see his donor list?
Anybody.
Right.
As long as the threshold over $50, there won't be a name. So if I go to a chicken sale or a bake sale and sell 100 $1 cupcakes, I'm going to have aggregated cash is what they call it. I'm going to have an entry for $100 is aggregated cash. There's no names attached to it. Now, if I go to that same bake sale and sell them for $51 a piece, for all 100 of those, I have to have 51 or 100 people. Names of those people.
But if you give them those names, they have to release them, though, right? Because I've seen that before.
That's before, but this is the new law, though.
All right, so the new law stops you from going to see, or me going to see John's donation
No,
list?
it has nothing to do with you and
Okay,
me.
okay.
It's public agencies.
Oh, the agencies.
The agencies that gather a lot more data
makes
than
it
we
more
have
clear.
than we have access to.
All right, I got you.
Right.
What else?
All right, and then the
Border Protection Act? That's already there, right?
that one did not get passed.
Freedom to
it
carry.
It
We're
passed. So we have 5 bills, I think, They're not bringing up all the remaining, but on August 26th, there's going to be another 5 bills that either the Senate passed and the House didn't pass, or the House passed and the Senate didn't pass.
Squatter bill.
That are going to be on August 26th when they reconvene. And then certain changes to state charter schools. They're going to establish a state review board and North Carolina Office of Charter Schools that will be established to oversee and allocate funds to charter schools. So basically, they're taking charter school management away from the State Board of Elections and making its own entity to look at
I think that's a better move, though.
Look at the-
I mean, I think that's a better move. I also think the plan or the findings from the auditor's office on the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said he didn't make any suggestions, and all I did was look at what they found.
Right.
And it is just it just goes to show you that the Department of Motor Vehicles, in my opinion, has been either weaponized or they've just plain idiots that they put in there to run some of the
Well,
stuff.
I think a lot of it has to do with the management. And some in that report, they're talking
or they're
about,
not managing. They put right people in there. They're not being managed.
They're talking about in 2019, they did a big study, what's wrong with the North Carolina DMV, and they outlined plans of action, discrepancies, deficiencies, whatever.
Who was the governor in 19?
Cooper. Cooper. But yes, and that's some of the findings was, hey, this was outlined 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it hasn't been implemented. The people that were put in charge, the directors, didn't follow through and make the improvements that were recommended 6 years ago. So yes.
But you know what? The reason why some of these improvements not being done is because of the upper echelon, the pressure. They're not getting any pressure from various locations.
The directors and the officials.
Just to be more specific, the DMV, we're specifically talking about the DMV offices where you get your driver's license.
Right.
Okay, not the contract registration location when you get your tags.
Right.
We're not talking about the DMV investigators that they're not moving into the highway patrol. We're not talking about. We're talking about the offices which you get your driver's license. And let me tell you something, systemic across the state of North Carolina. I can tell you that, and it has to do with this, with everything what we're talking about. Okay, this happened during COVID. Because of COVID, the scam against the American people, okay, all these people became lazy to the bone. Because before COVID, you know, I've had some expiration things. I had to go there, and they were hopping and popping. Something happened during COVID, and most people, not all, became extremely lazy. And I know this because I've been to other locations, and I know I'm not going to disclaim the names, but
I know one area that's great.
I seen some locations where you can go to the Hulk DMV office, and they move at minus the power of turtle speed.
How many minus the power?
That's a snail speed. Okay?
Now,
and then only certain people, they're like, so if you're this person, you're going to process one individual for 45 minutes to an hour. Because I experienced that with my son, with my daughter. But then you're like processing 3 or 5 individuals in the same time frame. It's an individual thing, and it has to do with management, with leadership.
Cracking down on them.
Yes, you know, and the sad thing about it is these people get paid hourly wages, okay? And, you know, salary and wages is 2 different things. And so, and when you don't have somebody that controls the worker bees, because I think that's problematic, hey, I don't think, and maybe there was before COVID, but somehow that manual where there was a standard that you will Like when I was a police
Like
officer.
an average?
Yeah, when I was a police
You telling
officer.
me you had a
yeah.
quota?
When I was a police officer, because I was a deputy and a police officer.
I'm not talking
As a
that.
police officer, we did things that some things that deputies don't do, just because of the nature of the
Right.
police. The police officer does traffic scene accidents, even death traffic scene investigations. The deputies, normally the highway patrol comes in and takes care of that for the deputies, okay?
Okay.
We had a standard that, if you gave a citation, you couldn't be there for an hour. There was a time
There's a clock ticking.
because your
Like
supervisor would
UPS.
be hey, what's going? I mean, don't be surprised if your supervisor rolled up.
Rolled up.
What's going on? And so that's what happened with DB. There wasn't a supervisor with, for lack of words, with the whip. What's going on?
Well, two things to that. So first off, the Supreme Court's already ruled on what's an unreasonable detainment during a traffic stop anyway. So if you're messing around and, you run into the whole Fourth Amendment thing. The second part, and it traces back to COVID, is in 2020 when they shut everything down, they prevented landlords from kicking people out of houses. They gave all the stimulus checks several different times. They expanded Medicaid. They expanded SNAP benefits, lowered the work requirements, the stuff that the federal government's now
So
re-implementing.
now everything has.
And so people, it
We're
just
at a
became
inflection
easy.
point. We're
Yeah.
at a sort of a
And,
inflection
and so
point.
the system,
It became easy
Yeah, the
to
system
just not work.
The system created an environment to produce laziness. Because I'm gonna tell you this. I'm realistic. Human beings will only do what they have to do, and if
To
you don't
survive.
have,
I mean,
yeah,
that's-
and if you don't have a supervisor, you mean to tell me that I'm gonna get paid $18, whether I process 5 customers versus 1 customer? So I'm gonna drag it. I'm just gonna. That's what I experienced, and that was my biggest complaint. And it was not just in 1 or 2 DMV offices. It was everywhere you went. But I tell you what, I'm not gonna mention the name. I know a few individuals that when they're there, because they'll swap, they get alternated.
Nothing gets
to different-
done, or
no,
stuff
they're
given.
like, it's amazing. So that tells me
Okay.
these people never were affected by this laziness.
Yeah, and it all boils back down to personnel shortages. A lot of
right,
people just
yeah.
didn't want to come back to work.
No.
And some of these federal not locking down the requirements back to pre-COVID, and a lot of people are like, oh, people are going to get off of Medicaid or get off of SNAP or whatever. These were the rules prior to 2020.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff, they're just rolling back.
Yeah.
Expanded program eligibility from 2020. So it's like we lived for how many years since, these programs were invented in the 30s and the 40s. We managed. We'll be all right.
I want to go back to one of the bills that he sort of addressed, and that's House Bill 805.
Ooh, the big one.
That's the one he was talking about, okay? That's really going to affect the public school system and also the charges. But you don't see the same issues that the public school system itself has is not necessarily applicable to charter schools because they fall under a different category.
Right. It's 805, prevention of sexual exploitation.
Yeah. And basically it defines biological sex. It defines, male, female, boy, girl, man, or woman. That's it. Okay, and the other thing is that, remember there was a one time during the Biden administration, it got pushed down to the states, and the Democrat states quickly followed. They got confused. They don't know what a man is and a woman is. And so, because I don't know that you're a man, it's okay for you, which I know I don't know that you're a man, but you look different from a woman. So I'm gonna let you sleep in the same hotel when we go travel. So they're stopping all of that, all that nonsense. House Bill 805 is nothing more than a bill to show that, again, North Carolina has common sense. We are actually coming back pre-wokeness, and we're coming back to realize that there's only man and woman. There's only a boy and a girl. And it's okay if you want to be something else, but you can't be the opposite. You can. What was it that Donald Trump said? You
don't
can't
remember
change
that
your DNA.
Yeah, you can't change your DNA.
You can't change your DNA. So that is one of the things. And to my disbelief, his justification for Governor Josh to veto this bill, his justification was just simply ridiculous. Well, it's gonna hurt people's feelings. Don't quote me.
Right, but basically,
but this is, I translated it. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. What? So basically, what he's doing, he has sided with the minority, the mentally ill.
The ones that
Because
are confused.
if today and tomorrow and before everything that happened, because we always had this. Let's not fool ourselves. We had men that were not. We're trying to play something else, and women that were trying to play something else. We always had this, okay? And it was like in the closet. Even the Army had don't ask, don't tell, don't ask, don't tell. We know what you are. We just don't bring it out there. Don't force it on us. And we got to that point where it got pushed onto us. And that's where it
There
became
was a little bit of a
it,
pushback.
it became problematic when they started pushing that nasty, woke, devilish ideology into the school system. And instead of teaching our children English, reading, math, government, history, we were trying to convince them that a boy can get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll tell you, and this is, I read history all the time, but back in the 80s and the 90s, during the really pro-gay movements and stuff like that, the transgenders were trying to hang on.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, we're like that too. The prominent gays were like, no,
No, you're
not.
No, you're not.
You're
not.
sick. You're ill. You need help. But they warned, back then. They said, hey, look, these people are
They're not going to stop.
They're not going to stop. And
that's what happened.
that's where we're at.
And all we needed was, in our case, the wrong precedent. In their case, the right precedent. Who started it? I'll never forget. Barack Obama. Well, after talking to my daughters,
Oh yeah,
he was because he came in.
he
He
had
sold
a change.
He sold us the idea that he was
Man for a man,
pro-life. Marriage is man and a woman, and then all of a sudden, well, my daughters. So I guess it's okay for two women and two men to be married. No, that is not a marriage.
Right. All right, we're going to end it on the probably topics that we could talk 45 minutes on, and that's the commissioners meeting that was last evening, and there was multiple things on there. So go look them up yourself because it's just there's so much going on. You know what I do? I go and I read books like these to a little tiny girl because it's one of the most
Need something to relax.
soothing that you can get when you're just. I'll tell you another one day too, man. It's just cool. Or after we're done. But anyway, it seemed like, look, they got a lot to remember and a lot to do. Just like the school board, a lot to remember. He can't remember every single thing they discussed in every policy meeting across how many hundreds of policies we have.
That's why you have minutes and agendas.
And that's why you have minutes and agenda, and that's why you make them public so people can see them and read them. I tell you, the city is doing really good. The city election's coming. We got to mention that on the way out. But they were talking about the gaming systems in the gas stations
Right,
and the
changing
policy,
the
changing
statute.
the local
The
ordinance.
Right.
And we were looking in the state laws, statutes. Maybe Ruben can help me figure it out later because I try to do the search thing. And you told me one day about searching documents for information where if you have these now. Gaming systems, certain types in the state of North Carolina are approved. Right. And certain can't get money out of them. You can't do this. You can win a prize or things like that.
Right.
Well, they find ways to manipulate the system.
Of course.
Yeah, sell the prize back.
Or they got the real games here and the other games back here or whatever. And it's a lot of a cash-based business. And it's and it's usually in a gas station or something similar to like a smoke shop or something like that.
Or some of these buildings that it says open, it's got
But you can't
lights
get
in,
in.
but you don't know what it is.
No,
But
no
you see
names,
people
no
going
letter.
in and out.
Yeah, yeah. Constantly people going in and out, smoking cigarettes and drinking something. Just kidding. I know my mom. She loved those slots in Germany, man. So they have a policy. There's a state regulation, and then there's a local policy. And I encourage everyone to go look up the local policy. But they wanted to amend and change the policy. First of all, why? How did this become this important all of a sudden? And number two, if the policy before was you can't have 1,000 feet of a school, you can't have 1,000 feet of a church or a daycare, you can't sell alcohol in the same place that you do the gaming. Now it's you can't sell alcohol, and they want to add consumption on there,
Right, which is good.
which is good. I agree with that. But then they asked the lawyer, says, well, wait a minute, what happened? So you're telling me all the ones prior to this now have been operating illegally because they're selling alcohol? I don't know if you remember during your you can say
Man,
yes or no, but I'm
we
gonna
went
say
back and forward.
Did-
We see some and we gave them back.
Right. So
it got tired.
so were you going into gas stations and collecting them and then having to give them back to gas stations that sell alcohol?
So let it,
I
mean, you got a
discussion.
lot. You got a lot here to unpack.
And
okay?
that's why I said it's
So
towards
the
the
law,
end.
it's my understanding because I read it briefly. My law. This is my interpretation. The law, which I don't know when it's going to take effect. I don't know what the county commissioners are going to do. It's not my area, and quite frankly, I don't visit those areas, so I'm not here or there on that. But as I understand, is that if I have a business and my business is for the purpose of gambling, it's gambling.
Right.
You put in an electronic slot machine, whatever it is, it's gambling. If you have that area, that business, you cannot be selling alcohol for them to consume it right there. Now, can they get around and say, okay, this is my gambling location,
And
but my
bar's
bar's
out
over
front
there. You just can't come in here.
with alcohol.
Can
right.
that be done? I don't know. You know. Every time the state or the government makes a law, there's always loops.
Wiggle room.
There's always wiggle rooms. They can't cover everything. So that's that. Now, as far as I think, since the last time I remember, when I was in the Polk County Sheriff's Office, we stopped ceasing the machines because we got tired of returning them. Because one day it was against the law, the next day we had to give them back, and then when you have to give them back, you have a possibility of being sued. And so I mean, it might have changed because I left. And
You're not paying. That's why I said you're not probably
so-
up to speed on the
but,
latest, greatest.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have not seen anything where Sheriff Virgil, his press release said anything about we seized 20 slot machines. So I haven't
Well,
seen
they
anything
did
like
back in
that.
2021 because I'm the one that called them.
Okay.
And-
See, I don't
yeah.
keep up with that.
But-
Was it the one out here on
The one,
401?
yeah, on Flagstaff. But it was the same thing. It was like, well, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, well, I'm going to call the newspaper. And I think the newspaper called the sheriff and said, hey, what's the deal?
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, it was raided and they were
It
gone.
was raided, but nobody.
They
there
popped
was-
up all around here.
Oh, they will.
And-
They always said, if you know the county enough, like I know,
They said there's over
you know where
300.
where they're at.
Not locations, but 300 machines.
Yeah.
They admit
where
that there are
at.
machines in Hoke County, and there's over 300.
And I
of them.
think the problem, and maybe not happening in Hoke County, because I don't know. Like I said, I don't visit locations like that.
But it does affect the community around it, in my opinion.
Yeah, everybody fights every time they try to
Yeah,
set
well,
one up.
and that's the problem. And so it might have not happened here, but I did read somewhere, it popped up on my feed or the news or something, where there was a gambling building, room, whatever, and somebody shot somebody, killed somebody, and they believe, which is most likely, the contributing factor was the fact that there was liquor consumption in that business. And you know this. You got two normal people with guns,
liquid courage.
with guns, and somebody rushed somebody the wrong way, and they're drinking. Next thing you know, guns are.
That's one of that's one of the bills they're talking about trying to overturn next on the 26th. I say 26th, 29th.
It's in August,
whatever,
this month.
towards the end of the month. But was the
Summer's almost
constitutional
over.
carry, and that prohibits you from consuming alcohol or having any alcohol in your system when you're carrying concealed.
You can't.
Well,
be,
hold
So-
on a second. Unless it changed, this is the way the law is. Again, unless it changed. So let's just say that I have like carry concealed, and I'm going to a bar to drink. I'm going to drink. I'm not saying I do, but I'm going over to that bar to drink. I carry concealed. I'm going to go and drink. I have to leave my weapon in my vehicle. Then I'm going to go and drink. I'm not drinking anymore. I can come back. I still have the right to have my gun out.
Well, that's what's changed. So you can go to an establishment. You just couldn't drink, so that was the same.
Okay.
You could carry it into the establishment. Now you can't have any alcohol in your system at all if you're carrying concealed. So you can't drink a beer in a bar, go back to the truck and put it on your waist and drive off.
Well,
You know.
yeah, I can see that.
My
Well-
point, my point being that's where the adjustments have been made.
Okay.
The law now
Maybe they
is
can look
you
it
can
up.
carry concealed into a drinking establishment as long as you don't.
You're not
drink.
drinking.
As
yeah.
long as you're not drinking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Previously, like you said, you could have some in afterwards. You could be carrying. But
I mean,
now
I
you
really,
can't.
I want to. I'm gonna read the new law, the revision, because I need to see. Because, like I said,
It's HB 50.
like I said, anytime
we can.
anytime a law is modified or a law is implemented, there's always a loop. Okay, so my first question to that would be, okay, all right, I'm not driving. Okay, and somebody drives my vehicle, and of course my gun is within longible range. Does that mean that my gun can't be there anymore? And what happens if when I'm entering my vehicle, somebody with a gun comes at me, and because I'm drunk, does that mean I can't get my gun and defend myself? See,
So I'll tell you, that's why lawyers are the second oldest profession in the U.S.
All right.
because there's a lot of questions.
Go check. If you know the state regulation on the gaming and alcohol, send us an information. Congrats to the Hoke Dixie Youth baseball team. You know they came
made
back.
it to the
They
state
made
or the
it to
region-
the
is it regional or-
World Series. There you go. Dixie baseball World Series against everybody, and they won in the first. No, the first round they got sent to the losers bracket, and then they lost out that Sunday. But kudos to them making it that far. That is really cool. History made. City election. There's 2-3 people running for mayor. John K. McNeil, the incumbent. Barker is running. Demetra Barker, and Jeremy Hollingsworth for mayor, so for one seat. And then Charles Allen, Wayne Willis on the city council, and Shirley Hart is running for one of those 2 seats. And
Shirley who?
Shirley Hart.
Hart
Anyway, Garland Pierce, our buddy, has made an announcement.
made an announcement.
And said he's going to run again. And the survey is over. It had almost 900 people take the planning board.
That's sad.
It's really sad. So Hoke Media Group started our own survey, and it's on the same page. We'll share it again, but if you go to HokeMediaGroup.com, you can see the video. And we linked the 2005 plan. It is really interesting if you go read through the 2005 plan and look at what has happened to this county. Just telling you, go to HokeMediaGroup.com about the plan survey. Look at our little 21 questions, yes or no. We didn't make it multiple choice, yes or no, and then you have a place for comments. But look at the 2005 plan and just look at the county. What else you got? Anything?
So National Back to Blue Day observances tomorrow. We're going to be out at Buck Diner at 11:30 to 1:30. All law enforcement, their family members, and department staff.
Hats off.
Lunch is on us, and we invite the community to come out and meet the deputies, meet
Meet
the
'em.
police
You
officers.
get the free meal, though.
You can't-
Just the law enforcement.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I was talking to.
Yeah, that's for the law enforcement.
Yeah, and their families.
All right. And then this Thursday at noon is the deadline to order online for this quarter's community chicken sale. follow the link on the Hope GOP Facebook page or go to the House of Rayford website. Click on Order Now at the top of the page and search for Rayford.
That's right. Ruben, anything you want to mention?
I mean, just if you're a parent and you got kids in the district, in the school district, don't forget we got the county as a whole. You got the district, the school district. You got other entities in the county that will be providing, giving supplies such as backpacks and so on to your students. Take advantage of it. You know, I always say I will wait till the events are done. Then, if you don't get what you need, then buy it.
Yeah, then buy it or donate it to the Rockfish Chamber, or what's the other good organization that helps the kids in schools that's around here?
The Backpack Buddy Program.
The Backpack Buddy Program, and there's one the girl that girl doing the volunteer village thing. I think they're setting up a donation. You can, if you have excess, you give it to them.
I think that's
they
this
can give
weekend.
it away.
I think I just somebody sent me an image 30 minutes ago.
Right. Look on what's happening, Hook. I'll share them there. We'll share it in
the
the
school
Roundtable
district
talk.
is the 16.
Right.
The 16.
So is the school district providing new backpacks to everybody, or just
That
returning?
was the question.
Is it new students, or what's the standard? Do you know?
He's trying to close it out.
I know. Well, we
I'm
still
gonna
got about
say
3 minutes.
I'm gonna say yes and no.
And no.
Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna have to look at the flyer because there's a flyer out there. Okay.
So you have to come to the event to get a backpack.
well to give whatever we're gonna give you.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Because there's a lot of different components to
Yeah, yeah.
this. I mean, this thing is from 9 to 4 o'clock. There's a lot. Okay. I know that the last time we still had some. We gave a lot of backpacks. And I'm not going to say that we are giving some, but I'm not going to say that we're not. You're just going to have to show up.
Oh, the National Night Out
right.
tonight was canceled.
It
Sheriff
was.
canceled
Yes,
that
it
because we
was.
got some weather coming
Yes,
in.
it was.
Watch the weather this weekend, and I've had enough. Y'all had enough
That's it.
About what?
of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, say hello, goodbye. Rayford Guns, thank you. Check them out. Give them a call. Rayford Guns, 910-709-3950. Hoke edition of the North State Journal. Please sign up for a subscription today. Hoke.northstatejournal.com. And tune your radio dial to Christian 105.7 FM WCLN. For Hal Nunn
Ruben Castelo.
And Chris Holland.
Peace out, y'all. We'll see you next time.